One Piece, 10 characters with the highest bounties prior to the time skip. Even before the time skip in One Piece, a lot of characters had high bounties on their heads. But which ones were the highest before it occurred? Bounties in One Piece are more than a numerical value over someone's head. They are a symbol of esteem and influence within the pirate world. The higher an individual's bounty was, the more they'd be respected by other pirates. And similarly, if one's bounty was lower than average, they'd be looked down upon by rival pirates. It's an intricate and smart system designed to scale the power levels and influence held by the bounty holders, without being overly blunt about it. Prior to the time skip, the average bounty was way less than it currently is, which can mainly be traced back to the setting. The pirates operating in the Four Seas and the first half of the Grand Line are generally much weaker than their counterparts operating in the New World, hence the low bounties. Here are the highest bounties revealed before the time skip. 10. Scratchman Apu 198 million berries. Apu's initial bounty that garnered him a place in the Worst Generation squad was 198 million berries. In comparison to the other members of the Worst Generation, he was slightly above average. Then again, that's only in terms of bounty. And bounties only provide a rough estimate of a person's overall strength. However, the extent of Apu's strength would most likely be tested in the currently ongoing Wano arc. We've only had appetizers so far, the next thing up is hopefully the main dish. 9. Trafalgar Law 200 million berries. Law was an absolute sensation from the moment he debuted. The One Piece community immediately fell head over heels for him. And in all honesty, it very much makes sense. Law's character design is one of the most appealing in the entire series. His mannerisms and famous yet do not help in keeping him under the radar either. Fans were completely delighted when the alliance between him and the Straw Hats was formed. 8. X-Drake 222 million berries. X-Drake is one of the few supernovas who had a static bounty for the last 2 years. Most of the other supernovas' bounties witnessed at least an inflation or two during that time period. With that being said, Drake's undercover status most likely played a role in his frozen bounty. In all likelihood, the big guys upstairs froze his bounty for a reason or another. 7. Basil Hawkins 249 million berries. Basil Hawkins is easily one of the most intriguing members of the Worst Generation. And the recent speculations of him defecting against Kaido make him even more so. Unlike Apu, who appears to be willingly working under Kaido, Hawkins seems to nurture an ulterior motive. But of course, all the mist would be cleared sooner or later, after all. Wano is reaching its endgames. 6. Jinbe 250 million berries. The Knight of the Sea, Jinbe, is the most recent addition to the Straw Hat crew that fans have been eagerly waiting for. His current bounty stands at almost double the one prior to the time skip, 438 million berries. Frankly, a bounty of that caliber often leads to Jinbe's capabilities to be overlooked. No one would be surprised if he was a solid Yonko commander level in terms of combat prowess. 5. Bartholomew Kuma 296 million berries. The case of Bartholomew Kuma is both a mysterious and tragic one. He is one of the few characters in the series to have affiliations with multiple major powers. He was Shichibukai, which automatically qualifies him as a pirate, as well as a former senior officer of the Revolutionary Army. He appears to be a central figure in multiple events that are vital to the overall storyline. Events that we still are unaware of. 4. Luffy 300 million berries. The inflation of Luffy's bounty could only be considered absurd. Many argue that his current bounty, 1.5 billion berries, was overblown by the time of its designation. Now, however, everyone seems to have a consensus that Luffy's capabilities have caught up with his bounty. After Wano arc comes to a conclusion, it's highly likely that his bounty, alongside the rest of the Straw Hats, would witness another dramatic surge. 3. Eustace Kid, 315 million berries. Due to how flamboyant and reckless Kid was prior to him reaching Sabaody, he was designated the highest bounty out of all the supernovas, a staggering 315 million berries. It should be noted that Luffy only got 300 million berries after taking down a Shichibukai and invading an essential government facility, Enies Lobby. The extent of Kid's actions could only be imagined. 2. Gecko Moria, 320 million berries. Upon his introduction, Moria had a bounty of 320 million berries, one of the highest amongst the Shichibukai. That being said, having a high bounty does not necessarily equate to having the strength to back that bounty. Moria getting kicked out of the Shichibukai before the organization's disbandment is a solid testimony to his incompetence. According to Jinbe, he fell so low due to his own laziness and negligence. 1. Doflamingo, 340 million berries. Doflamingo is an accurate example of an individual having a disproportionate bounty. His skills and overall prowess are more than enough to garner him a bounty of 1 billion berries if not more. However, due to the Shichibukai having the privilege of frozen bounties, Doflamingo's bounty stayed the way it is for more than a decade. If he was to somehow escape impelled down, we would most likely get to see it in full glory.